The Wolves were on the road to face Tusculum in their first conference game of the year, looking for their first win. We've got all the action. Tennis head coach Aletta Macchetti led the women's team to the NCAA tournament last year, and she'll give us a preview of what's ahead. And what's it like when your home field is thousands of miles from home? We'll spend some time with some of Newberry's international student athletes. All this and more coming up on Wolves Weekly. From the Langford Center studios at Newberry College, this is Wolves Weekly. I'm Al Della Chica. The 2024 season has gotten off to a rough start for the Newberry football team. Despite their best efforts and some incredible plays in their games against Valdosta State and Kaiser, the Wolves twice came up short when time ran out. This past weekend, they headed to Tennessee to face the Tusculum Pioneers in their first game of conference play this season. Newberry had defeated Tusculum in their last three meetups, with the most recent coming in 2021. The Wolves were hoping to continue this record and get the season's first win. But the Wolves weren't the only ones looking for a reset. The Pioneers were coming into their home opener 2 weeks after losing 45-9 to West Alabama in the season's first game. They hoped to turn that around with a defeat of the Wolves. NCTV's Paul Fisher was in Greenville, Tennessee, and filed this report.
This week marked the first conference matchup of the South Atlanta Conference. The Wolves got off to a hot start early. They received the opening kickoff and drove 77 yards in 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Dwayne Wright capped the drive with a 29-yard rush for a score, and Bryce Early's extra point put the Wolves up 7-0. On the following series, the Pioneers had the ball at their own 9-yard line. The snap went over the head of quarterback Braden Phillips. Phillips kicked the ball into the back of the end zone to avoid a Newberry touchdown. This gave Newberry a 2-point safety and put them ahead 9-0. The Wolves got the ball back, and a 47-yard pass to Tommy Washington put the Wolves deep in Pioneer territory. A fumble, recovered by Pioneers' Tarek Bonds, halted the drive. A great stop by the Newberry defense led to a punt, and the Wolves got the ball back. In a quick 4-play drive, they scored on a 6-yard run to Keith DeShure. Newberry took the last 4 minutes of the quarter to score it on a field goal and set the score at 19-0, ending the first quarter. The Tusculum Pioneers started the second quarter on a solid drive. Running back Joseph Goho broke loose for a 58-yard score. The extra point by John Aiden Pittman was blocked, leaving the score 19-6. About halfway through the second quarter, the Wolves got the ball back. Quarterback Reed Sharpia connected with Keith DeShure on a 34-yard path for DeShure's second score of the game. A big stop by the Newberry defense led to a long field goal attempt, which fell short. Newberry got the ball back. The Wolves went 71 yards on 2 plays and topped the score 33-6 at halftime. The third quarter consisted of 2 long scoring drives by both teams. The Pioneers received the kickoff and drove 75 yards in 12 plays. They took 6 minutes and 27 seconds off the clock before quarterback Matthew Palazzo connected with Jalen Hunt on a 22-yard touchdown pass. The score was then 33-13. The Wolves got the ball back and used the rest of the quarter to travel 80 yards. They took 6 minutes and 44 seconds off the clock when they were stopped at the 1-yard line. Running back Quez Spells punched it in for the Newberry touchdown. Neither team scored in the remainder of the third quarter. The Wolves opened the fourth quarter with an interception by Josh Stevens, which he returned to the Tusculum 27-yard line. A series of losses set up a 32-yard field goal for Bryce Early, which he made. The Pioneers fought till the end, and in the final minute of the game, Lex Dwindy punched in a 6-yard score. The extra point was good. With his 50-20 defeat of the Pioneers, the Wolves get their first win of the season and are 1-2 as they head back home and will host UVA-Wise next weekend at Setzler's Field. Paul C. Fisher, Wolves Weekly.
And so the Wolves cruise to a 50-20 win over Tusculum. As we saw in the highlights, Dwayne Wright finished the day with 142 yards on 7 carries, and Reed Sharpia continues to post strong numbers, completing 13 of 17 passes for 207 yards and a touchdown. The Wolves defense forced a safety and 2 turnovers and held the Pioneers to 251 total yards, while Newberry gained 451 yards, even though the Wolves only had the ball for just 1 more play than the Pioneers. Now, even though the Wolves lost the previous 2 games, we did see some flashes of potential, but the team just couldn't put it all together in time to come up with the win. This week, however, the pieces came together. Newberry was up 19-0 at the end of the first and didn't look back, and was 6 for 6 scoring inside the red zone. The offense was there, the defense was there, and the special teams did what they needed to do. This was the 25th time Newberry has played Tusculum, and Newberry now leads the series 14-11. This is also Newberry's highest scoring game since defeating Erskine 54-14 in 2020. An interesting side note, Wolves assistant coach Drew Watson faced off against his son Cole, who is now a coach for Tusculum. Cole Watson played at Newberry from 2013 to 2016 and then coached at Newberry from 2018 to 2021. This weekend, Newberry will be back at Setzler Field to host the Cavaliers of UVA-Wise on Saturday at 7 p.m. And of course, we'll have a preview of that game later in the program. Up next, Coach Aletta McKetty talked to us about leading the Wolves on the tennis court. That's coming up when Wolves Weekly returns in a moment.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
My dad was a farmer. The guy was bigger than life. He wasn't someone that liked to show his emotion or liked to show when he was struggling, but we all struggle. I want to show emotion to my kids. It's something that brings me so much joy, and I want them to see me working through things. Allow your kids to know that it's okay to struggle, that even dad doesn't know the answer sometimes, but we're gonna figure it out together.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those barbecues you plan in detail for your family? Or your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5.
Okay.
Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Wolves Weekly. I'm Al Della Chica, and joining us today in the Langford Center studios, head men's and women's tennis coach, Aletta McKetty. Coach, welcome to the studios.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you have such an interesting story here. You were kind of thrown into the fire here. We'll get to that in a moment with coaching the 2 teams. But if you could briefly describe kind of your journey to Newberry College. You know, you just got here last year and are already now head coach, but you didn't come as a head coach to start with. So how did you kind of get here? And I know that you had recently, Coach, I know you put the kind of coach scholar title into play. Congratulations, by the way. You got your master's degree last year as well. So how did you get from that in Texas to Newberry College.
So so I started my master's program at ETBU in Texas, and I kind of just did a year of coaching there and kind of enjoyed the experience, and I was like, let me see how far I can take this coaching adventure, and then I applied at Newberry College for the assistant position, and within 2 months, I saw myself as the acting head coach. So it was an interesting transitioning from trying to learn still on the coaching aspect, and then kind of being thrown into the role of head coach and just running a whole program.
Yeah, and what's interesting is, like you mentioned, you came here under Coach Mark Gardner, and he had been here for some time. He was one of the longer tenured coaches here at the college, and he had really had a lot of success. I mean, he had really turned the tennis programs around from years ago. I remember some pretty dark times with the tennis programs here at the college. Not any longer. That's the good news. And so, how do you, literally just out of school yourself, you played, I know, at Mars Hill a couple years prior, and so now you're at Newberry College, and as an assistant, how was that transition for you where all of a sudden you're head coach? I mean, did you find it easy? Was it a little bit of a challenge? Were you a little bit nervous about taking over the reins?
I mean, honestly, all of the above, because I feel like it was hard to try to figure out how to transition into, the big role to where I was helping out underneath the head coach there once they got there. So the transitioning was a little bit difficult, stressful, but throughout my life I've had to transition through whether that was from college or tennis and just being international, just coming to the state, that was a big transition. So I'm kind of used to being able to adjust to big changes, little changes.
And the last thing, you handled that. You have to, right? Tennis is kind of unique in that it's such an individual sport. Very few sports, for the most part, where you're literally out there one-on-one. If you're playing singles, one-on-one, you against the other person. And that's a unique thing. Most of team sports and other types of things like this, or for example, in golf, you're kind of out there against the course, if you will, and you have your score. And you put that in a team environment. And you have that here at college too. So how do you work with each student? I mean, it has to be a unique challenge. I mean, every coach has to work with each student, but they work as a team. You have singles players who have to get out there and perform on their own. Is that a unique thing, or how do you work with each athlete like that?
Yeah, so tennis, college tennis, you come in the environment of you're going to play for a team. You're not necessarily playing for yourself, but you're also playing for yourself to improve as an individual. But at the end of the day, we always I always tell my players, like, your scores are going to count for the team, but it's not going to count for you as an individual at the end of the day.
Okay, so yeah, you really do stress that team aspect. And so that is a unique thing about that. So it's pretty cool with that. And I might add, along with the Coach Scholar, the men's and women's tennis teams have some of the highest team GPAs, by the way. So tennis players, they have it up here, right? So I love the tennis players. It's one of the sports that I had played as well in my high school time, and some USTA tournaments and too. So I've always loved tennis. And so it's a wonderful thing. And you're having great success. So continued with that.
Appreciate it.
Go Wolves, right? We'll be right back after this to more Wolves Weekly.
Yo, camping buddy. Okay, you guys ready?
Dude, I thought you were driving.
I thought you were driving.
Oh, I never said I was driving.
I definitely can't drive.
Okay.
If you're high, just don't drive. It's illegal everywhere. If you feel different, you drive different.
When I arrived in the U.S. at 19, I struggled to find job opportunities without a high school diploma. Everything I have, my education, my career, my marriage, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and my teachers.
Your achievement has set an example for so many students. Most importantly, your daughter.
Education was the key that unlocked all my opportunities.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free adult education centers near you.
NCTV, Newberry.
Welcome back to Wolves Weekly. According to the National Collegiate Athletics Association, more than 25,000 of the student athletes enrolled at American colleges and universities are from outside the U.S. Of those, more than 8,500 are at Division II schools like Newberry College. But no matter where they come from, it's a big adjustment. Producer Cornelia Rutkowska and her team spent some time with two of Newberry's international student athletes to find out what it's like to play on fields so far from home.
Ella Allardyce and Stimule Chikere are two field hockey players from Zimbabwe who came to Newberry College to represent their country and showcase their talents. Ella is just getting started as a sophomore, while Stim is looking to finish her senior year strong. We asked them why they choose Newberry College and what it's like to be an international student athlete.
I think being an international student athlete is something that's already very unique. Not a lot of people get to experience that, so I am very grateful for that. I will say though, it has come with quite a few challenges, and the mental fortitude that I have gotten just being an international is something that I will be able to take on into my future, no matter what the challenge is. In Southern Africa, we have a very popular saying, which is Ubuntu Ohunu, which means I am because you are. It basically stresses the importance of society or community in building up a child. And for us, that is something that is ingrained within us from a very young age. We value respect, integrity, and compassion. So I wish a lot more people just knew about Ubuntu and how much of a significant role it plays within literally every Southern African child's life.
The biggest thing that I noticed was the field. Growing up, I started on grass, so I played on normal grass, and that was quite difficult. And then transitioning to high school and playing with the national team, I was lucky enough to play on AstroTurf. So before coming here, I did play on AstroTurf, and then arriving in America, we play on like an artificial grass. So it definitely is a big jump down from AstroTurf, and it is difficult, but I would say it's much better than playing on grass. And if I'm completely honest, I've actually enjoyed playing on it. I haven't had a huge problem with it. And then also team sizes. At college, we have really big team sizes comparing to home where you have a squad of 18 and here our team is like 28. I've had a lot more opportunities here, traveling wise.
What is your favorite place that y'all have traveled so far?
Oh, that's difficult.
Y'all went to New York last year?
Yes, New
I'm
York.
sure that was really special.
It was the greatest thing we ever did.
Yes, so when I was looking for schools, I was looking for a school in the south because obviously weather was better. I wanted a smaller community to start college, and obviously a school that had a good field hockey program. And all the things that I thought of, Newberry just stepped in the way of all of them. That was the first option, and it has a really nice campus. It's small. Field hockey is a big thing. The program is amazing. And yeah, just the community and being able to make a lot of friends because of how nicely sized the school is.
Thanks. I heard you were on the Dean's List last year?
Yes.
And you've maintained that?
I have, and I'm hoping to maintain that for all 4 years, if I'm completely honest. I came to America, yes, for field hockey, but academics is a big thing for me. And I have to say, I feel like they've been very accommodating and very helpful, all my teachers. So yeah, I want to try and maintain that for the rest of my... Yeah. And they do send, this is kind of funny, but they do send a letter to my parents, saying congratulations, and they send it all the way to Africa. So I want to keep that trend going.
Yeah. Field hockey is a very successful program at Newberry College. Last season, the team had an incredible year, making it all the way to the semifinals of the SAC playoffs. The Wolves are off to 4 straight wins to start the year. Although Ella Allardyce is out for the year with an injury, she remains positive and has been an encouraging voice to the team. Stem looks forward to competing in her last season as a Newberry Wolf, bringing energy and talent to the team as a midfielder. While home for Stim and Ella is over 9,000 miles away, they are making the most of their opportunities at Newberry College on and off the field. Stay tuned for more Wolves Weekly.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. So if you want to talk to your kids, you have to get it trending.
No, you're doing it wrong.
Let's go.
Can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
Jason, let's go see your room.
That's not right. How was it? Is it good?
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
It's something about having that piece of paper. Some people think that's worth more than my skills.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
You just gotta be so good they can't ignore you.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
Analytics and empathy. That's how I've gained clients.
I am more.
I'm more
than who I am on paper.
Welcome back to Wolves Weekly. I'm Al Della Chica with Alexa Gambarino. And let's now take a look at some of the other action in Newberry athletics. In volleyball, the Wolves had their first conference match with an away game against Lenore-Rhine last week, coming up short in a 3-0 loss. They also lost a home match against Coker on Friday, 3-0. The team then went to Florence, where they lost to Georgia College in the first game, but defeated Francis Marion 3-1 in the second. This leaves the team with an overall record of 2-5.
The field hockey team kept its winning streak alive, defeating the Belmont Abbey Crusaders last Tuesday night in a 2-1 win, and then traveling to Pennsylvania to face off against the 10th-ranked Mansfield on Saturday. The Wolves scored 2 late goals in the fourth quarter to tie the game, and finally came out on a top 3-2 after a shutout. They then defeated Slippery Rock on Sunday with a 1-0 win, pushing their season record to 6-0.
And in women's soccer, the Wolves are off to the best start in the program's history. The Wolves won an away game against USC Aiken last week 3-1, earning their 4th win of the season. The scoreless streak did come to an end after 433 minutes of keeping the other teams out of the goal this season. Newberry also won a road game against Tusculum 1-0 on Sunday, keeping the team's winning streak alive with their 5th victory. The men's soccer team also played Tusculum, but came away with a scoreless tie, moving their record to 0-3-1 on the season. Both teams will face conference foe Carson Newman on Saturday.
And on September 16, Estimbile Chikuri of the field hockey team and Reed Sharpia of the football team were named the South Carolina Army National Guard Newberry College Players of the Week. Chikuri led the Wolves to a 2-1 victory over Limestone and scored the first goal of the season and the 16th of her career. Sharpia racked up 298 yards of total offense and scored 2 touchdowns in September 14 games against the Kaiser Seahawks. You can find out more about the Players of the Week, along with more information about all the areas of Newberry College athletics at newberrywolves.com.
And this coming Saturday, the Wolves are back home at Setzler Field to face the University of Virginia at Wise. The Wolves defeated the Cavaliers in their 2 previous meetings, beating them 30-7 at Setzler Field in October 2019 and 37-14 in an away game in October of 2021. And you know, Alexa, these two teams that Newberry has faced, Tusculum and now going to be UVA Wise this weekend, both of those teams coming in with new head coaches. Tusculum seems to have not figured it out too much. They're 0-2 now. However, UVA Wise, they just beat Catawba for their second win of the season. They're 2-1, and they're coming in also with a new coach. You know, what is the mindset? You're an athlete yourself. What happens when a new coach comes to a program?
Right, Al. I think it's very difficult to adapt, especially when it's all of a sudden just have a new coach. So as a team, you have to get together, trying to be patient, tolerant with the new coach, and just try to adapt to the new coach's mindset.
All right, and we hope they do. And of course, Coach Knight was kidding a little bit when he said, we got to get back to the conference schedule because we, as you saw, right, we have a win under the belt. We have another one here with UVA Wise coming in this coming Saturday night. And the game begins at 7 p.m. at Setzler Field. And Newberry Athletics Hall of Famer Jimmy Coggins and I will have all the action for you right here on Flow Sports. And of course, we'll have all the highlights for you right here next week.
In the meantime, that's all for this week. I'm Alexa Gamborino.
And I'm Al Della Chica. Thank you for watching, and join us next time for more Wolves Weekly.
When you can't get to the game, Wolves Weekly gets all of the excitement of the game to you. Available on Flow Sports and produced by NCTV Newberry.